Hello, my name is Colby Sharp. Today we're going to be talking about 10 amazing picture books that I read aloud to my fifth graders during the month of September. Our school started August 21st, so this is after the first 10 read alouds. These are 10 of the probably 20-ish books that I read during the month of September. Let's start out with the book that I read near the end of the month. Christian Robinson illustrated Amanda Gorman's beautiful, beautiful book, Something Someday. Wow. And I wanted to, before I talk about this, I'm holding this book over on my right shoulder, and every time that I talk about books, I hold them over here, but I'm on the wrong side. I have to move. Gotta move over a little bit because, I feel so much better. This is a beautiful book, and it just reminds me, so it starts here. Things are falling apart. Things are not in good shape. And this kid is basically told, don't worry about it. Wait till you get older. It's not a big deal. It's not something for you to fix. You can't do anything. And throughout this beautiful journey, throughout this beautiful book, the kid just doesn't listen to that voice, doesn't listen to those people, and something is what their heart tells them to do, and their someday is right now, and they do some pretty amazing things. I think you're going to love this book. It's beautiful. My kids were mesmerized as I read it aloud to them. Be sure to check it out. And I'll put a description in the description or in the comments. I'll put a list of all of these books so that you can have them so you don't have to write them down as you're watching. Next up, holy smokes. Magic, Once Upon a Faraway Land, a beautiful story about what magic means to this family. Through the good times, through the bad times, holy smokes. I just think it's just gorgeous, and it takes us inside this family's world in Mexico, and we get a chance to just see how their culture affects their lives and impacts who they are and makes them just this amazing family. And then please, if you read this book, please read the author's note, because it will just it gave me goosebumps. When I read the author's note, I could feel it on my arm. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's just gorgeous. I'm gonna just read you a couple sentences of the author's note. It said, my grandpa's hard work wrote this book. My grandma's stories wrote this book. My mom's hugs wrote this book. My aunt's cleverness wrote this book. My dad's imagination wrote this book. My brother's kindness wrote this book, and so on. Oh, isn't that? Don't you want to read this book after that? One of my favorite picture books of all time. If you haven't read this book, read it, and then give it to people who haven't read it, and then watch them read it. Watch them when they get to the end, because there's something special watching people experience this book for the first time. And many of my students had experienced for the first time already in previous years to Go Parm Elementary team, but still, it's just still amazing how Humpty Dumpty got back up again. The book starts, Humpty fell, and now, Humpty's kind of afraid of heights, standing down at the bottom of the cereal aisle, not really chasing his dreams, not really doing what matters to Humpty. But then he gets an itch. His heart, he's got to follow what his heart tells him. Oh my gosh. And we've been studying summaries, we've been studying themes. This book is just good. You could just whatever you're trying to teach kids, probably do it through this book. It's just the best. And I love Dan Santad's Beagle, which won a Caldecott honor, but not gonna lie, this is my Dan Santad book right here after the fall. Oh, but man, I love Beagle too. Not that it's a contest. Jumper, one of my favorite 2023 nonfiction picture books, A Day in the Life of a Backyard Jumping Spider. You just get a chance to just check out the spider in nature, in this town, this neighborhood, this home. And it's just so interesting. It's so fascinating. It's got back here, it's got the back matter for people who really want to nerd out about these spiders. It's got resources. It's got how to identify spiders. Book's got a little bit of everything, and it's awesome. And the illustrations are distinguished, magnificent. Look for this to be on a lot of mock Caldecott list as one of the best illustrated books of 2023. A book that I will read forever and always, the rest of my teaching career, The Rabbit Listened. Corey Dorfield's amazing book about Taylor, who was building something and it came crashing down. I'm so proud of it. Came crashing down, and Taylor's feeling some type of way. And all these animals come up and they want to fix it. They want to show Taylor to be mad, show Taylor to cry, show Taylor all these different things. And then Rabbit comes, and Rabbit just listens. And you can have some really amazing conversations with kids about how there are different times you need different things. And we can't tell other people how to feel, how other people how to respond. It's just such a beautiful book that is needed now more than ever as kids are hopefully finding their feelings and figure out who they are and understanding themselves a little bit better. They've been through a lot. Sometimes you just need someone to listen. Check it out. So good. All right, one of my favorite picture book biographies, The Oldest Student, How Mary Walker Learned to Read. Yeah, so Rita Lorraine Hubbard wrote this amazing book, brought this story to us. Oge Mora, with her distinguished art, brought it to life. This woman was born into slavery and ended up living for like a century, way more than a century, learned to read after she was 100 years old. And there's just this thread of this Bible that she was given that she can't read for such a large part of her life. What an inspiring, amazing work of art that this book is. And I just think it's so interesting. And I just my excitement towards this book just oozes out of the pores of my body into the hearts of the readers in the room. That's a weird sentence, but it really is. I feel like I can really just show my passion for reading through this amazing book and how books, we just learn the coolest things ever. Check out The Oldest Student. The kids will love it. And then let's be real, Derek Barnes, Gordon C. James, creators of Ode to the Fresh Cut, which won every award that you could possibly win. I Am Every Good Thing is just a masterpiece. And I love reading this to kids early in the year. I love for them to see these characters owning who they are, being proud of who they are, celebrating who they are. It's just beautiful. It's Derek's words are just, they just beg you to read them out loud. Everything that Derek Barnes writes is a gift to people who care about books, people who care about children, people who care about reading. An oldie but a goodie. This Is Not My Hat. We read I Want My Hat Back, and we read This Is Not My Hat. I chose to read this one because just the atmosphere in the room when I was reading this, and this big fish is chasing the little fish that stole its hat, and it's told from this character's point of view, but this character, this little fish, can't see the big fish and doesn't know what's happening and about to happen to him. Oh, it's so much fun. And this group of kids weren't familiar with this. So it was a gift to me, even though this book is a decade old, that I got a chance, decade plus old, I think, I got a chance to experience them reading this book for the first time. Let me know in the comments. So I mentioned that this book, After the Fall, are there books that you just love sharing with kids for the first time? Their reaction the first time they experience a book is just, it's like Christmas morning, opening the Nintendo that you got for Christmas in 1987. That's the feeling that I get reading this book aloud to kids for the first time. Brand new Nintendo as a 6-year-old. Let's go. Supriyas My Name. Wow. Just the number one is just so clever. This kid is so excited about school, so darn excited, but also kind of worried because people might not know how to say their name, might mess it up, might think that they're kind of weird because, some of the things about them are different than a lot of the other kids. It's just a really important book as we get to know each other early in the school year or any time. And I think that you should read it to kids and you should buy it. Remember, list of all these books down there. And then finally, Flooded. Didn't have this book on my radar, but I read it at home. And then I'm like, man, I want to read that book to kids. So this town is flooding and everyone in it is getting starting to get kind of anxious and stressed out. Because starts out as not a problem and it just gets worse and worse. And then eventually it's to the point where only the giraffes kind of got their heads out of water. And all at the same time, there's this little character trying to get everyone's attention and no one's listening and no one's paying attention. And because no one's paying attention and no one's listening and everyone's just complaining about it and not trying to find the solution, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Does it sound like the world we're living in today? Maybe, maybe not. Flooded, an amazing book, a fun book to talk about and to read with kids. So that's what I'm reading. If you're reading anything awesome, let me know in the comments because I am going to read my kids over 200 picture books during the 2023-2024 school year. And I could use some more recommendations. We've read about 35 so far, and we're always looking for the next great picture book to share, to read, to talk about, to enjoy, to put in our heart and keep forever. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Colby Sharp. I hope you have an awesome, fantastic day.